Welcome back. Let's start for the details now. And this afternoon, the big day is for Dr. Opoku Prempeh. And after months of intense speculation and lobbying, the new patriotic party flagged by Dr. Bawumia will in a few hours officially present his choice of running mate to the party National Council. In a crucial meeting that could shape the party's prospects in the upcoming December 7th elections, the choice of Dr. Bawumia is expected to be accepted by the council, but it is not a done deal yet. As General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodiafrempong, told me on Tuesday, Dr. Opoku Prempeh can be rejected. But is that going to be the case? Listen to him.
It will start with the steering committee, right? And the steering committee is a smaller group, right? About 15 of us. Just to inform us, as steering committee, you can't take any decision. But after steering committee, it moves to NEC. So he also informed NEC about his decision. At that point, we can also take a decision at NEC before it gets to National Council, because the party has structures and we don't want to bypass those structures and then move straight to National Council. And
the leadership of steering and NEC are also members of the council?
Yes, but National Council is a larger body, right? So at National Council, that's where the decision will be made. Per our constitution, the National Council that has the power to either approve or disapprove.
You've been a party member for long. Is it the case that, or is there a possibility that the name can be rejected?
Of course, why not? At the end of the day, the National Council that has the power to approve. And that's why I love our flag bearer. He understands politics. He understands what he has to do. He knows that I'm going to make a decision. And that decision will be approved by a different body. So in that case, why don't I involve them? Why don't I consult them to listen to their views, to get their input, so that at the end of the day, he will sail through successfully? And that is what a good politician does.
And some will say that all this consultation is just lobbying, so that when he's put on the floor, he knows that I have the backing of all these organs and that I don't expect my choice to be rejected.
Lobbying is part of politics. And a good leader lobbies. You don't want surprises. That's why you need to lobby.
So therefore, if council can take a decision against the choice of the flag bearer, then there's no finality to the name that is already in the public domain.
Oh, yes. So at the end of the day, yes, it's the National Council that's going to make that decision. So that's why we are always very circumspect in discussing as to whether it's a done deal. It's not a done deal. At the end of the day, it's the National Council that has to stamp its authority one day to say, yes, we have agreed or we approve of the name that you have chosen.
Right, so this is what the General Secretary told me on Tuesday. Now, the nominee, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, before serving as the Energy Minister, was the Education Minister during the implementation of the government flagship free senior high school policy. His nomination is viewed as a strategic move to enhance the party's campaign, leveraging his expertise and leadership. This afternoon, we have in the studio spokesperson for the Vice President and the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Gideon Buakom. He will also be joined by the NDC soon. Dr. Gideon Buakom, you're welcome. And Dr. Buakom is also the NPP parliamentary candidate for Tananov in the Ahafo region. But before I settle down with him, let me take you live to Alisa Hotel, because the place is getting interesting. My colleague Samuel Bura has been there since morning, and he joins me via Zoom. Samuel, so what is the mood? We understand the Vice President arrived some few minutes ago.
Yeah, Elton, it is quite an energetic and energized atmosphere here at Alisa Hotel, specifically around the pavilion. We have scores of party supporters thronging the premises of Alisa Hotel to support Dr. Opoku Prempeh's nomination. Some of the party supporters that I actually spoke to told me they are coming from the Ashanti region to support him because they think that he is the right person to have been chosen by Dr. Bawumia. We have people also coming from the market, where market women are here in their numbers to support this whole process. So it's actually a packed atmosphere here at the Alisa Hotel. The President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, arrived here a couple of minutes ago. The Vice President and then the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, is also here. So in no time, this much anticipated National Executive Committee meeting would kickstart. But right in your shots here are market women coming from Agbogboloshi. Some are also coming from the Ashanti region. They tell me they sell plantain and all manner of food stuff from the market, and they are here to rally their support. And it's an indication that the market women support the nomination and the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as the running mate to Bawumia. Mami, yama kwa badiba join is so. Pacho ene say Emma say Omayi Napo say on the Bawumia China Munkoye 2024 elections.
We met my for Metria Omu. And I sent to my Yatidane. And I met Opoku Prempeh. And I vice a man Santa region. It's yet an etisa. No my vice and family. It's in the way. You're from Santa region and Abane. You're from Santa region and I Yabeduha. It's your son, I'm a say. Vice.
I was joining you, so I was over Ashanti region. That's one cry.
Me wa cry.
So, oh, yeah, before, like, oh, yeah, Agbogboloshi.
Oh, now I am a bands. I have to say, I'm Papa.
Right, so we are live at the Alisa Hotel. We've lost Samuel Mbura, who is covering this very important meeting of the NPP. And as we heard him say, the National Executive Committee meeting will start shortly, and then the council will follow. So the composition is made up of the president, all leading members of the party, some reps from parliament, and the others. We'll also take you live to Kumasi, the hometown or the home region of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. My colleagues from Love FM, they've pitched camp in his home to gauge the mood ahead of this formal announcement. Also in the studio is Dr. Gideon Bwakun. Dr. Gideon Bwakun once served as regional youth organizer for the Ashanti region, so he knows the terrain very well, and he's now at the national level as spokesperson for the vice president and seeking to now represent the good people of Tana North in the Ahafo region in the 9th Parliament of Ghana. So before we establish communication and contact with Samuel Mbura, all right, so Mbura, you're on phone. I understand that the next meeting just got underway.
So the next meeting is under the the president and they are the arrival after the meeting. So for now, the next meeting is currently underway, and we are pitching camp outside there, monitoring proceedings. But I spoke to Honorable K.T. Hammond, the Trade and Industry Minister, and he tells me that the majority caucus is fully in support of this nomination of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh to partner Bawumia ahead of the election. So, Elton, for now, we don't know what is being discussed there, but what I can say is that they are underway with the National Executive Committee meeting.
Right, so it will be after the next meeting that a council meeting will commence. Is that the case?
Exactly. So after the next meeting, they will reconvene for the National Council to also meet. And the National Council, we know, it is the second decision-making body of the governing NPP. So after the National Council meeting, that the official announcement will be made in a press address by the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong-Kodia.
Right. Thank you very much. But, I mean, you are on the ground. Does everything suggest that there's not going to be any surprise and that the name we know is the name that will be officially outdoor?
Well, Elton, that would be a surprise, though, but with the engagement with all those who matter in the NPP, the stakes are quite high for Napo to go through. It is just a formality. I've been told that this is just a formality, the constitution of the NPP. So at the end of the day, we should see Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh being endorsed as the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Thank you very much, Mbura, and we'll touch base with you very shortly when there is a development at the Alisa Hotel. And I don't know if I can go to Kumasi now. and gauge the mood ahead of this formal announcement. Let me take you to Kumasi, the hometown, the home region of Dr. Opoku Prempeh, to gauge the mood of the constituents ahead of the official announcement. My colleague Nana Wachi Yadom joins me from Kumasi. So, Nana, where exactly are you in the Ashanti Regional Capital?
Well, Elton, we are on the vibrant streets of Menchia South constituency. This is the constituency of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. In this constituency is where we have the Apejafie right behind me, the house where the Energy Minister and MP for the constituency was born. The Apejafie is where his family, they all live, and then we are being told that currently the Apejahini and then the family of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, are in a closed-door meeting. Very soon we'll move in there to gauge the mood at the Apejafie to see or to have an interaction with the family members there, and then also to see if we can interact with the Apejahini. But then on the vibrant streets of the Menchia South constituency, we are here to engage with party executives ahead of the national executive meeting currently ongoing for the confirmation of the running mate for Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, who is supposed to be the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. As I speak currently with you, the executives are in a meeting up there, and so most of them will be coming down to speak to us. But then we spoke to some constituents earlier who are expressing their joy over the possible nomination of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, their Member of Parliament, as running mate for Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, pairing him for the crucial December 7th presidential election. The New Patriotic Party, with all party executives and people who do matter, are currently in Accra for that crucial meeting. But then the executives for the Menchia South constituency are also here having their own meeting ahead of the announcement, which will be made formally by the New Patriotic Party and its flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The executives are also telling us that they are making preparation ahead of the official unveiling, which we are being told would happen in the Ashanti region. Well, we do not have a number of people here joining us for this particular engagement because most of them are in that meeting, that closed-door meeting, which is being held between the executives of the Menchia South constituency. But then later in the day, we'll be getting an interaction with most of them. When we spoke to them prior to this engagement, they told us they are happy about the nomination of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, waiting for the National Executive Council of the New Patriotic Party to confirm his nomination while they are waiting to officially pair Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for the December 7 polls. I have some executives who have come down here with me, and then I would want to engage. Them on their expectations right after the NEC meeting, which would predetermine the announcement of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as the running mate of Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. I mean, this is the big day that we've all been waiting for. NEC meeting is ongoing, and then we are waiting the official announcement by the New Patriotic Party. As executives and constituents of the Menchia South, what are your expectations today?
Our expectation is that nothing will change. The name will be mentioned, as we have already mentioned. So we believe the earlier they do it, better. It should not be in the night. Otherwise, we can't jubilate. We have already started the jubilation because we know whatever happens, today will be the D-Day when our Vice President, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh's name will be mentioned and then confirmed by the NEC.
You've already added Vice President Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, but then let's say nothing is going to change as you've said. But then, what are your plans right after next announcement?
Oh well, we have to celebrate. That's the first thing we have to do because it's a long-awaited something. Today they will say this, tomorrow they will say that. You see, all of us have been held in suspense for a very long time. So if the announcement is made, already we have organized some Jama group here in the evening. Okay. So we are waiting for the formal announcement. Immediately they say, PIM, we start. Then the jubilation starts.
Well, Elton, we can't wait for that PIM to gauge the mood of the Menchia South constituency and its constituents ahead of the official announcement or official confirmation of NEC, which would guarantee that formally or officially we have Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as the running mate for Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. But then I have this lady here with me. Before I came down here for this engagement, she was expressing her joy. We have not had the official confirmation yet, but then tell me how you feel.
I feel very excited and I'm waiting for Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia to just mention our Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh name for us to just rejoice and then say hallelujah to the Most High. We are just waiting for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Now, you're waiting for him to come out and then tell you, this is my running mate, and he's no other person but the Energy Minister and the MP for Menchia South, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. After his official announcement, are you sure that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh can garner support from the Ashanti region to support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to win the December 7th election?
Much. We know our MP, we know our minister, we know our father, we know him very, very well. In fact, we are happy. We are so happy to hear that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia mentioned the name, and we hope he will do as he always do for us in the constituency to the whole world. We are hoping for that.
Now, what are we expecting tonight after the official announcement?
Excited and happiness, everything. BBAB.
All right, sure. Okay, sure. So, Elton, these are executives of the Menchia South constituency for the New Patriotic Party. They tell us that right after the official announcement, they are going to make merry. They are going to rejoice. Already, a number of people are coming in. They are trooping into the party office. Where I am currently, I can see a number of people in the Menchia South constituency coming into the party office just to join the celebration as they await the official announcement by the National Executive Council of the New Patriotic Party. On the streets of the Menchia South constituency, the constituency of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, his name has been put out there as the running mate of the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But then, what are we waiting for? We are waiting for the official announcement by the National Executive Council of the New Patriotic Party. Just as other important figures are at the Alisa Hotel having that important meeting for the confirmation of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, the executives of the Menchia South constituency are also here making plans to rejoice, awaiting the official announcement that will be made by the NPP and its flag bearer, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. In this same constituency is where we have the Apejefie, where Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was born. As I said earlier, we'll be going to the Apejefie to engage the Apejahini and then the family of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. If his name is confirmed and if NEC does come out with his name as officially as the flag bearer of as the running mate of the New Patriotic Party. And so this is the mood on the streets of the Menchia South constituency. Elton, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Nanabati Yadom from Kumasi. And of course, we are monitoring events also at the Alisa Hotel, where the meeting of NEC and Council, these two meetings are very important, especially the Council one, because the Council one will bring finality to this matter. But the Joy Research Desk, they've been doing some work on the man who is primed to be named as the running mate to complete the MPP's ticket. And so that's Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, 56 years old, Member of Parliament for Menchia South since 2008. He's been a minister he was a Minister for Education 2017 to 2021, and currently serves as the Minister for Energy in the Akufo-Addo administration. So the Menchia South constituency, for example, this is what has been the voting trend since 1996. So in 1996, it was 81.4%. That's how much the MPP won the constituency. In 2000, they moved it from 81.4 to 81.8%. Now it will come down to 75.6% in 2004. We'll go up again, 77.2% in 2008. 82.1% in 2012. In 2016, the party won Menchia South under the leadership of Napo by 86.2%. And in the last election of 2020, the MPP won the Menchia South seat. By this time, the vote came down from 86% to 84%. And Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, he's been a Member of Parliament since 2008. So there's been a progression in terms of the votes that he's always brought to the table. So voting in the Ashanti region, that's what you have. The NDs has always maintained the fact that if they are able to bring down the MPP votes to at least 75%, if they are able to gather between 25 and 30%, then they stand a better chance of winning the national elections. So between 1996 and 2020. This has been the voting trend as far as the NPP is concerned, from 65% to 74, 204, 77, 208, 75, 2012, 70, 2016, 76%, and 2020, 71%. So even for the NPP, they've always said that they hope to get 80 plus more. They've not been able to do so. For the NDC, the highest they came close to, to winning more than 30% was in 1996, 32%. But they've also witnessed, instability in terms of the votes that they want to get. So from 2020 to 2028 to 2020, from 2000 to 2020, it's been between 22% and 26%, and that has been the story in the Ashanti region. And the last parliamentary primaries, Napo won again. The delegates selected him by 85.5% of the total votes that came through. And this is courtesy the Joy Research Desk. And of course, in terms of the National Intelligence Bureau survey that they conducted, overwhelming support for Opoku Prempeh, 76%. The person who came close, the Education Minister, 10.6%. Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, the Chief of Staff, and of course, Joseph Osewo. So we'll do more on these things. But let me just bring in Gideon Bwakun. Gideon Bwakun is spokesperson for the Vice President. He's also a parliamentary candidate seeking to go to Parliament for the first time in 2005. But he's been a youth organizer at the Ashanti region before. He lived most of his life in the Ashanti region before now taking this very important job as spokesperson for the Vice President, the technical advisor. So Gideon, you are so close to the Vice President. Tell me, how is it a case that this is, the name Napo, nothing can change in the next few hours? And that is a done deal?
Well, I think at this point I can risk by telling you, because the meeting is ongoing, and I can tell you with all certainty that from the Vice President's side, when it comes to who will be his running mate, the name Napo, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, is what will be mentioned to the National Council. The rest is for National Council to decide.
Yeah. But what went into deciding, or what went into settling on Napo?
Well, we have to wait and listen to the Vice President speak to the National Council as to the reason why he selected Dr. Opoku Prempeh. But I can, based on his previous interviews, to kind of, guess into his mind what he's going to say today. The Vice President had an interview with the African Watch magazine somewhere early part of this year. And he said something about who or what should be the components in the selection criteria for a running mate. And I just want to read a paragraph, portions of a paragraph for you to see. So the Vice President said, a running mate selection can be looked at from many angles, but I will not rule out trust, loyalty, competence, hard work, compatibility. So these are 5 attributes that the Vice President gave as indication as to what will make him select a running mate. So if this is anything to go by, then I can, believe that he considered the issue of trust, issue of loyalty, competence, hard work, and compatibility. And I like the aspect of compatibility. I've worked with the Vice President for close to 8 years. And I know that if you have a running mate that you are not compatible with,
it can't work.
There's no loyalty, it cannot work. And so I wouldn't be surprised that these are some of the indications that the Vice President was looking for in the selection of who should be his running mate.
And did the region play a role?
Yeah, the region did, and I can say this, right from the beginning, it had been clear to him that a running mate should
come from the Ashanti region.
Yeah.
And yet we heard names like Brian Champon, who was also being considered. We heard Irene Natoshi.
Well, that's fine, but I guess you're also, privy to the information that a lot of people were trying to say they also come from Ashanti.
Exactly.
All because people felt that it is not just the Vice President thinking that the running mate this time has come from Ashanti region. But a lot of people, including those who were in the competition, also felt that it is appropriate that this time around, the New Patriotic Party, looking at the regional dimension and where the Vice President comes from and the situations on the ground, it is important that we choose a running mate who comes from Ashanti region.
And then we also heard the name of the education minister, also from the Ashanti region, member of parliament for Bosomtwe. We heard the former majority leader, Oseche Mensabon, so they didn't make the cut.
I mean,
is that to suggest that they didn't meet this criteria?
No. I mean, yesterday I was in cabinet when the president gave the vice president an opportunity to inform cabinet.
Wow.
What he's going to do today. And the vice president began by saying that, well, Mr. President, everybody around the table and all those who, had interest in the position of the vice presidency qualified. And that's the beauty of the democracy of the New Patriotic Party, that at any point in time, we have a crop of qualified people to fit and suit a particular position. But in this particular regard, he decides that, or he has decided that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is going to be the most competent and the most perfect complement for the election 2024 ticket.
And cabinet backed this this position by...
It was not for cabinet to say yes or no. But the president said,
was basically
not allow anybody to make comment on it until we go to National Council, because the constitution of the party is such that whatever decision the vice president makes, whatever comment any other person has, really may not matter until we get to National Council, where the vice president makes the decision in consultation with the National Council. So that's how it's.
But you do get a sense that, I mean, the cabinet of President Akufo-Addo are in support of what the vice president intends to do today, and the name he wants to mention.
Let me issue this. Mind you that it's not a main cabinet session. Usually when cabinet meets, there's a main cabinet session, and when the cabinet session is over, there's a political session. That is where all these political issues are discussed. But that part of the political session are not reflected in the cabinet minutes. You understand? So it's not part of the cabinet. But, well, I think by and large, everybody in NPP, I say everybody advisedly, not to suggest that
there are some
1 to 100 everybody, but the majority of the party people, super majority, believe that the name the vice president will present is a name that will complement the ticket, will be the perfect complement for the ticket for election 2024. And so I didn't see from faces of people that they were not comfortable. In fact, when the name was mentioned, usual, people applauded, and so that's an indication that people are ready for it.
But Gideon, because you lived most of your life in the Ashanti region, so therefore you know Napo personally. Why is this overwhelming support for his candidature, if I should use that word?
No, I saw Napo back in the days as a student when he was coming to contest for the Menchia South seat. And you were in Ashanti region with me. And you saw the vibrancy and the energy he brought into the competition. I remember at Alisa Hotel, where the election was held, Dr. Kwame Adukofor was confused, because his personal aide was Osaya Sibianchi.
Yes, the current National Service.
Exactly, who was competing with Napo, who is Dr. Kwame Adukofor's nephew.
Exactly.
And so Dr. Kwame Adukofor said, Osaya Sibianchi is my aide, he's my boy, but Napo is my nephew. And he left it like that. People had to decide, because Napo came in with a lot of vibrancy and energy. And he's the people's person. If you listen to the rank and file of the party, the young, the middle age, and then the old, everybody who has gotten close to Napo has a feel of him. I remember him very well. When I finished university in 2008 and I went to Parliament to do my national service, at the time, we were national service people, but he was the MP that came to those of us who came from KNUST that he knew to talk to us about our future aspirations. Would you want to go to school? We want to do politics after that. And I remember when I told him I wanted to go to school, he sent me links of Leicester University and all of that.
To apply.
He said apply. Even when I was not successful at getting scholarship, he was part of one of the few people like Chemisa and him, Honorable Isaac Asiama, who came to me and said, Gideon, you have to go back to Ashanti region and continue doing politics. You speak well, you were a strong TESCON executive. We want you to contest the position of, regional youth organizer. Right. So if today I can say that my position or my decision to contest for regional youth organizer was as a result of some stalwarts in the party who saw the future in me. Napo was one of them. So you see that he clusters himself around with the young people of the party. And that is the kind of vibrancy and the buoyancy that the NPP needs today. Second term, stepping into third term, where there are a lot of despondency, people who are looking for opportunities in government are not getting, and so they are dissatisfied. You need that kind of candidate who comes in and all of a sudden already say, Napo is in, that we can all go in and support because there's future for us, to complement Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has also demonstrated so well as a competent vice president, and today he's Christian as the most effective and impactful vice president. You need another person to ginger the base of the party, to get everybody to rise up, to get all those who feel they have to sit back to say that, no, it is time for us to step forward and fight well and fight for the NPP, because there is hope for us to win the...
We'll come back to talk about the vice president and whether or not you think that he will be his own man, leading this country, because of the fact that he was brought into the party in 2008, nominated by President Akufo-Addo. People had issues with it. People raised issues about his membership and all those issues. Now, over the years, he's proven to be a key member of the party, now in a very positive position of leading the party to another election. We'll talk about that very shortly. But the Napo character you mentioned, there are those who are also of the view that his persona, how he reacts to issues. A member of parliament for Asante Achem South, and the Apia Kubi, has a different narrative about Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, to the extent that he makes the point that it will be difficult for him to raise his son in his constituency and say that let's campaign for this person or that. And Napo appears to have so many issues with a lot of people in the party. That side of him you didn't talk about. Is it a side that they misconstrued, or people just don't understand who this person is?
We live in a world with a lot of misconceptions, and people look at things and define it the way they want to define and appreciate the issues. But let me say that if at the mention of Napo's name, one or two persons had not had issues, then he is not a human being.
Right.
That is what makes us as human. As I sit here with you, I smile and everything. Somebody is sitting somewhere and say, oh, that boy, you understand? Saying all kinds of things about me. They really do not, may not reflect my true character or behavior. So Napo is one of us. He's just as human as we are. So one way or the other, you may have somebody express a certain misgiving. And let me tell you this. In the history of the NPP, I think Napo's announcement has been the only announcement that has been greeted with a lot of with very minimal opposition.
Right.
I remember very well. Professor Dubois' time, names that came, even President Kufuor.
Yeah.
When he nominated Elijah Aliu Mahama, we saw party people who rose up and said no, to the extent that during that time we had a whole Ashanti regional chairman of the party resigning, the general secretary of the party resigning from the party. President Kufuor and Aliu Mahama didn't have it easy. And then we saw Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, when his name came up. Look at somebody, a stalwart and a big influencer like Kennedy Japan and people like Chemin Sabonsu who stood up against Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm not saying this to spy them. Right. There are a lot of people who felt that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was not the perfect selection.
It was seen as an outsider.
Was seen as an outsider. A lot of party people were just disappointed in President Akufo-Addo. Where did you pick this guy from? We have suffered for the party all this while. You need to put one of us there to champion the cause of the party. And I remember, even the second time President Akufo-Addo nominated Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, because I know very well the things that happened, because I was the person who was tasked by candidate Akufo-Addo together with Justin Kodua Frimpong to organize a youth rally for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for his second selection. And I saw the kind of calls that came to even some of us.
And it will be 2012.
Exactly. People felt we shouldn't do it because Bawumia did not qualify to be repeated. Look at Napo's own. Apart from my good friend and brother and the Apia Kubi, who had expressed one or two comments, the generality of the NPP people have accepted Napo, and they believe that he's a right complement to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for this election. So if you want to talk about the selection of running mate in the NPP, I can say that Napo's selection is one that has, generated a lot of excitement in the party, and you're getting majority of the party people throwing their support. You are not hearing so much or so many negative comments from party people, you know, moving through town to say that we won't agree, no demonstrations here and there. And that is fantastic. That shows the kind of impact Napo himself has also made in the lives of people in the party. We need not sit here and talk about some of these things, but you meet ordinary party people and you talk to them on average. If you meet 10 people, 4, 5 of them have been impacted one way or the other by Napo's benevolence, generosity. He's such a benevolent giver. He's such a generous person.
But if you open it to the larger space of presenting him to the general public, and the fact that the MPP's votes may not be enough to secure an election victory, so it is for the NDC. So the small constituency in between the MPP and the NDC, will you say that this choice will be accepted by these?
Why not? I mean, I have absolute confidence and there's an absolute belief that the post choice transcends the corridors of the New Patriotic Party. This is somebody who has been an MP for 16 years, minister for close to 8 years, education minister, and had that responsibility to put in place one of the cardinal policies of this government, the free SHS. And look at how he went around the free SHS implementation without, heavy hitches, and even when there were challenges, how he surmounted those ones. I mean, he's human. In his interactions with people and engagements with people, you don't expect that every aspect of his behavior and character will be accepted by everybody. All of us are like that. Even Jesus Christ did not have it smooth. Moses suffered the same in leading the Israelites. So we are human. He's also human. I mean, we are politicians. We speak, we engage people. Sometimes a smile may not reflect a smile to somebody. Sometimes an honest opinion and comment about something may be seen as insolence to another person.
And you think that the Ghanaian is ready to accommodate these flaws that you mentioned? People say that the way he responded to the energy issues, for example, was very unwelcoming. You think that these traits that people have identified him with, that people will forgo it and accept him as somebody who is capable of leading this country? Yeah,
what I would say is that I think as humans, we accept that the aspect of fallibility is there. We may make mistakes, but how we react afterwards also tells us something. I think even in the minds and the thinking of the Energy Minister, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, if after making that comment, he saw the reactions and felt that, oh, I didn't mean it this way, but this is how people are reacting, let me stay back. Let me stay back from making further comments. And that can also be a gesture to say, oh, I'm sorry, or I didn't mean evil. I meant it well, but if you have this opinion about it, I'm not going to make further comments around that.
We are here to get this thing from him.
No, I'm not holding him brave for him, but I'm saying that the fact that he even restrained himself
from further comments.
From further comments, you understand? But make sure he stayed in the office, engaged people to work to avert the problem that, orchestrated all of these comments. It's an indication that he is human. And even when he does something and he doesn't mean evil and people see it in the bad light, he sits back to say that let me reflect and change my ways and do something else. And that is why we are human. And any one of us on daily basis, goes through such situations. And so I don't think one or two graph exterior on the part of public figures should be used to judge their competence and their hard-working capabilities. What is most important to the Ghanaian people is that we want lights. Are we getting the light? We want cheap products on the market. Are we getting the cheap products? We want proper education for our people. Are we getting them? Sometimes in the act of exercising one's responsibility to deliver such national goods to people, one or two toes may be stepped upon. But I think we have to accept that. There's no single politician in this country, there's no single public figure in this country who has in one way or the other not made mistakes in the public utterances. And so we cannot zero in on just Napo to say that he may have made one comment or the other. President Mahama is contesting for presidency. He has used the word barony and others on people before. But, I mean, he's human, you understand? So that's how it is. I don't think President Kufuor has had it easy.
Right.
Either way, President Kufuor never had it easy in terms of people criticizing comments that he had made in the past. And my boss, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is the candidate himself, has also not had it easy. Likewise, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, and me sitting here, people may have issues with comments that I make, and even you as a journalist, when you're doing honest, impartial journalism, somebody says somewhere and feels that you're being partial. Look at the comments being made about the Chief Justice today, just because she's exercising her rights and responsibilities as the Chief Justice to present people to the President for promotion. People have issues with that. So it's the same case with all of us. And I don't think it is peculiar to Dr. Opoku Prempeh. I think at this point, first, those of us in the NPP should see his relationship with the Vice President and how he complements the ticket.
And I was coming to the question whether there are weaknesses, perhaps you've worked with the Vice President for all these years, weaknesses that you may have identified that you think that Napo can complement it.
Oh, obviously there may be. I mean, Vice President Bawumia is not a whole. When I say he's not a whole, it's only God who is whole in whole. You know, he may have his own shortfalls and weaknesses, and he has his strengths. Napo is also coming in with his strengths and his weakness. That is why we do SWOT analysis. But I cannot guess and I cannot put on the table right away, just on the spur of the moment. But I think that when the two of them sit down together with the campaign team, they can see where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's strengths are, where his weaknesses are, where Dr. Opoku Prempeh's strengths and weaknesses are, and see how they can work mutually to complement each other and make way or make up for the shortfalls in each other person's capabilities. So that is basically why we are there, you know, as aides and assistants, to also look at our bosses and say, boss, this responsibility, allow the running mate to handle that, because he's the best person who can handle this aspect for you, and you focus on this one, deal with that. So that at the end of the day, the synergies are drawn and there's proper complementarity.
All right, so we are looking forward to the formal announcement that most likely will come from the Alisa Hotel. The General Secretary of the party will address the news after this closed-door meeting ongoing. We'll also be speaking to the NDC. I mean, this is an NPP house matter, but, you know, it affects the NDC in a way. So we'll also be speaking to the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC on this show. We'll take you to the Alisa Hotel, we'll take you to Kumasi, where everybody is on standby to hear what the party council will decide on after, you know, after listening to the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. These are all coming your way right here on the Pulse, here on George. Get interactive, send in your comments via our social media handle. I've seen loads of them. Some are applauding the choice. Some say that it will lead to nothing. It's a democracy, so every comment is welcome via our social media handle. So we'll bring in the NDC when we have them, but I still have here Dr. Gideon Wakum. So, Doctor, I mean, for all the years that we work with the Vice President, some say he is calm, some say he is too gentle for even politics. He's been Vice President for 8 years. You know him maybe much better than some of us who are on the outside, because on a daily basis you interact with him, you strategize with him, you work with him. What kind of person is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? Well, I think I should say I know him in part. I cannot know him in totality. But having worked with him closely as his mouthpiece, there are issues that we discuss between us that others may not even hear. I see the Vice President, and that's why I like Napo's coming onto the ticket. These are two workaholics. Yeah. You understand? So today I was teasing him, and I said, I'm going to see how the two of you are going, how you're going to challenge yourself. Because Napo is a workaholic, the Vice President is a workaholic. Vice President Bawumia is somebody that, I should say, looks at things with positive mindset. Okay. You know, the last time I was granting an interview last year, and I told somebody, he's not like some of us. I mean, when you make me angry, I will show that I'm angry, and I will even react towards that. You know, having worked with the Vice President for a lot of years, he rarely, you know, shows he's not happy about anything. Even when he's not happy, he tries to put up, you know, a smiley face. And
some of us have questioned him some part. He says that the same energy, the energy that you use to frown is the same energy you use to smile.
All right.
So he better uses his energy to smile
rather
than to frown. And I'm using frown and smile to represent the embodiment of his behavior, to say that he always approaches things with a positive mindset, and that is why he chose the maxim, it is possible. He thinks that if you put your mind to something, it doesn't matter who is in charge, that you're happy with or you're not happy with. If you want it to happen, you can actually make it happen. That is why if you look at the far-reaching policies and the innovative ideas that he comes up with, sometimes he announces the ideas and right away people rubbish them, say it is not possible, they cannot happen. He sits back and laughs and says, look, these are mindsets of impossibilities because they are approaching the thing with negativity.
Right.
Let us look at it from the positivity angle and try what we can do. And lo and behold, when he tries, he's successful. And that is the kind of generational leader and the generational thinker, the innovative leader who is quite futuristic and sees things that others do not see. Because where we are in as a world today, you need to have a supersonic brain and mindset to be able to scale over the challenges that we have as a nation and as a globe, to be able to move forward. And so he's a fantastic person to work with. And I think that no matter how people may see a running mate or the other, if you have, a candidate who himself embraces everybody, you're able to mold people and manage them to work effectively.
But how easy or difficult was it for him to push through some of the programs that he claims that, it belongs to him? He says that he pushed through 33 at least program and policies. That's according to him. But how easy or difficult was it? Knowing very well that he was not the main man, and he's still not the main man. The president is there, so there's a limit to where the vice president can push certain things to, because ultimately the responsibility will rest on the president of the republic. How easy or difficult was it to navigate through these, power to get some of his, programs out?
It all boils down to personality, mindset, and the vision. I must tell you, for some of the programs, he had it tough. Very, very tough. Not tough because people in government were approaching the project or the program with malice to derail the program or not to make it successful, or the Ghanaian people. But, it is your idea. It is not my idea. And so how I comprehend and understand the idea from the inception may present some difficulties to me in terms of its acceptance, reception. And so a lot of the time, he came up with the idea. People actually did not even think it was possible. And when people do not buy into the concept and do not have the same policy understanding that you have, they may not yield to the implementation strategy just as you want it to be. So some of them, he had it tough. But because...
Are you able to mention some of them?
Oh, something like drones.
For medical purposes?
The drones, he had it tough. He had it tough. Cyanohydro, he had it tough. If you go for oil, he had it tough. Because some of these policies also involve other agencies and stakeholders, and even mobile money interoperability. Let me say this. How he navigated his way to get mobile money interoperability was just amazing. Even the telcos were surprised, because you have individual telcos with their own interests. Some were market superpowers in the mobile money arena. And so they didn't even want others to be on the same level, to have that kind of interoperable, transfers of money. And so getting everybody around, and the vice president will be holding meetings like twice a day, 3 times a day on the same subject. Sometimes they come for the meetings and say, you know what, I give you 2 hours, go back. I'm recalling the meeting, reflect upon what you have said, go and consult. He calls them back. He said, look, go back, come back at 7 p.m. And the guys are like, who is this man? One agenda. You're having 3 different meetings the same day. And even when they have left, he picks his phone, calling people, eye on the ball approach to policy implementation. That is what Bawumia is made up of. So his persona and the way he's able to bring people on board and the way he reacts calmly to people. He doesn't get angry, and he doesn't insert himself so much to say that, oh, I'm exercising my ex-cathedral powers as the vice president. I am the vice president. If you don't like it, do it this. No, he doesn't. He always allows people to bring their views and opinion. And also he does the bottom-up approach. Can you believe that at the economic management team, Vice President has invited our market women from Makola Okaishi to come to EMT. Taxi drivers have been there. Uber drivers have been there. KJTR people have been there. Magazine people have been there. It doesn't matter who you are.
To listen to their concerns.
If he thinks that you have something to contribute to the economic management team, he will bring the people in tie, and he will bring the people in the aprons, and he will bring the people in the overalls to come and sit. Everybody bring your ideas together. And when people have such opportunities, and they air their views, and their ideas are not even accepted on the table, they buy into whatever idea you want to bring, because they think that if adduce an opinion, that supersedes what they have, and they all go along with that. So I think that his character and his behavior and his approach to issues is what endears him to people. And a lot of the middle class people in Ghana who have had engagements with him, the academia, people in the professional bodies, when they come and sit around with him, have meetings with him, they sit back and say, really, this is a different person. Because even when what you are proposing is not in line with what he's thinking, he has a nice way to let you feel good and let you feel that your ideas matter.
All right.
Just that on the table, there's a superior argument to what you propose.
We'll look at the effect of all that he's done on the well-being of the people, because the complaint in town is that cost of living has gone up, fuel prices has gone up, the exchange is over the roof, and so all the talks about he's the best economist and economic messiah, we are not feeling it. And people can point to a lot of things that they can say that because of this and that, your tag as economic messiah should be questioned. We'll come back to deal with that. But let me bring in Mustafa Bandi, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, also joins because this may be an NPP family matter, but the NDC has a stake whichever way you look at it. Mustafa, you're welcome. So clearly, it is just a matter of time that formally Dr. Opoku Prempeh will be named as Dr. Bawumia's running mate, completing the NPP's ticket ahead of the December 7th general elections. This is obviously an NPP family matter. Why should you be concerned about what is happening in their home?
Good afternoon to my senior brother, Dr. Bwankra, even though he will not be able to go to Parliament.
I'm not Bwankra.
Doc, now, first and foremost, I see my brother struggling so much to convince and to make sense as to who Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is, how his running mate will lead to him becoming a president of Ghana. But, you know, if the candidate is a good one, you don't need to go on all these rhetorics to sell him. 2024 is not an ordinary election. It's an election that measures the reality of the standard of living of the ordinary Ghanaian. I thought that in some months back, they have said Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was not in charge of the economic management team and that he didn't have any responsibility, constitutional responsibility. But today, it has become part of his credentials that we should tout how he met taxi drivers and all of that. At the end of the day, what is the status of our economy? We are talking about people who are dying. We are talking about businesses that are collapsing. We are talking about heightened irresponsibility in terms of governance. So far, the economy is the way it is because both the president and the vice president are running about and failing to take full responsibility of the economy.
Okay.
And so today,
So Mustafa, just a second, so that I'll let you continue because of our viewers and those who are watching Joy News now. So the Energy Minister, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, just arrived at the Alisa Hotel. President Akufo-Addo also just arrived at the Alisa Hotel. And we'll bring you those visuals. We'll take you live to Alisa Hotel in some few minutes. And this is just by way of information. So, Mustafa, please continue.
Yes, today we are worse off. All the good policies they said they have made, the outcome is that the ordinary Ghanaian will vote taking into account their standard of living. Those whose businesses are collapsed today will influence the election on the basis of how they feel it. I quite understand that for all intents and purposes, President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia meant well for this country. But their intentions have not inured to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian. And that is what it is. They have simply failed in their attempt to help the people of Ghana. They have not been able to help the people of Ghana. The hardship that people are going through today have never been experienced before in this country. The level of customized corruption, the level of broad-day stealing of public resources, I have never seen it in my life since I was born. And this occurred under a supposed president and a vice president who is today a flag bearer. Now, the reason they are meeting today is to endorse or disendorse Dr. Opoku Prempeh's appointment as running mate or nomination as running mate. We all know that if you ask Dr. Opoku Prempeh to give you an account of his track record, both at the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Education, he cannot be able to give you anything.
The free SHS?
The free SHS, we all say was a good government policy, one of the best NPP have ventured into. But if we had a very serious, well-grounded minister, I am very sure that it could have been implemented properly than it is today. Both children, teachers, parents, all stakeholders are complaining that the free SHS policy, good policy, fantastic, life-changing, economic building, but have not been implemented properly. Hence, the challenges that we see. Students are not fed well, teachers are not fed well. As we speak, students don't have, learning materials, they don't have curriculum, ICT labs are not working. All of these happen because you have a minister who doesn't understand the job.
But to what extent does this take it that the NPP will present to Ghanaians today? To what extent will this Dr. Bawumia Napo take it, scuttle the MDC attempt to regain power in 2025?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that, look, the whole game plan of settling on Napo as one that says, okay, let's go to Ashanti region where we can get votes from. And so let's appoint. What they forgot is that Napo doesn't resonate with the grassroots of Ashanti region. He does not.
But his numbers his numbers will contradict what you are saying.
I mean, at the end of the day, everybody in Ashanti region is disappointed today. And we all know that. We all know the issues surrounding the death of John Kuma, from John Kuma to me and all of these. So clearly, they have settled on a man for the convenience of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, not with a larger political spectrum to look at how the NPP can win. Because they know that, clearly, it's not going to be anything that will help the NPP. Because Napo doesn't resonate with the resolve of Ashanti region. That is why today's NEC, they are going to have problems, which is why they must seize people's phones, because there will be transmissions. So we are not worried. If you look at the persona of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, we all know, and we must credit him. He's a very humble man. He respects everybody. Dr. Bawumia is not arrogant. But the fact is that he's dishonest and he's a liar. He has lied publicly, and there are evidences everywhere where the vice president have spoken. You Google and it is false. This is him who have told Ghanaians that they have built factories. Not a single one have been built. He's told Ghanaians that they have built dams.
Mustafa, which particular factories are you referencing? Is it the one factories?
The whole 1D, 1F thing is an incentive to grant existing companies tax waivers. And my brother is sitting there. Let him mention the factories they said they have built. Or let him mention the dams they claim to have constructed. And I have said, if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his team can show where the dams are, I will resign.
All right.
As a Deputy General Secretary.
Mustafa,
so clearly, if you have a candidate who is publicly dishonest and a liar, and you have one who is known to be hot-headed, in fact, he doesn't have track record from all the ministries they have placed him. You got people from Parliament publicly condemning his nomination.
Only one person so far on record.
Well, but you didn't have that in previous times. When Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was appointed, was one person from Parliament speaking against it. That is the person who spoke publicly. What about the ones who are very quiet? And so we are not worried about it. At the end of the day, the NDC is more focused on one thing. And I would say that the victory for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not going to be a tea party. It's going to be one that the NDC will come and work hard to restore the economy and the country and where we are today. And that is what the NPP should be happy about, that a government will come to clean their mess. Because if you don't clean the mess...
Just a second. I'll let you hold it there because this is a conversation. I'll allow Dr. Ginobaku to also come in. I'll also be taking you live to the Alisa Hotel very shortly because we've got a development there. You have a reaction for Mustafa. I asked about the current state of the economy and whether what we are experiencing right now, doesn't it question the economic capabilities of the Vice President?
Shun away from responding to people across the aisle just for sweeping statements and comments that they make that are quote-unquote a bit unintelligent. Because you're talking about running mate Napo, and he's saying that he didn't perform at his ministry, and that you want to demonize him and say that he does not fit the position of a running mate. If you move across the aisle, who is the running mate to the NDC? Do they accept Professor Nana Opoku as a competent running mate who excelled in her capabilities or positions as a Minister of Education? Let me give you just 3 indications. Both of them, putting education into perspective, both Napo and Professor Nana Jiman have been education ministers before. Professor Nana Opoku came to meet an education ministry and a government that was paying teacher training allowances, that was paying nursing training allowances. What did she do? She cancelled them. Napo came as education minister and reinstituted those allowances to the benefit of our young people who were going through training to become teachers and to become nurses. We were in this country under the NDC running mate that they are leaving to come and castigate Napo. Professor Nana Opoku supervised an education ministry where chalks were in scarcity to the extent that the second lady had to film and got angry when teachers asked her for the provision of chalks under Professor Nana Opoku. When Napo became education ministry, ask today how many schools use the blackboard and the chalk. Majority of our schools in the villages are not even using chalks. They are using whiteboards and whiteboard marker. Have you even heard under Napo or this government that whiteboard markers are in scarcity and the schools don't have them? So between somebody under whose watch as education minister, we could not even afford chalk, okay? And somebody under whose watch as education minister, we have even moved beyond the traditional archaic ways of using chalk and blackboard to using whiteboard and whiteboard markers, and we are able to provide to them. Who is the best? Professor Nana Opoku, as an educationist as she was, or she is, a former vice chancellor of a reputed institution, University of Cape Coast, who became education minister, she should have been the perfect and the best education minister this country could have. But she supervised an era where teachers who had been employed would teach for 3 years, and for 5 years, she will not pay them and will pay them only 3 months' salary. What a callous leader we had under Professor Napo. When Napo became education minister, tell me the teacher who taught for 3 years and for 5 years and was not paid his salary but only 3 months in this country, and let us talk about it. So I don't want to go so much into this. You know, you can talk in politics to try to make sense to people, but don't rubbish competent and excellent leaders and leave your own incompetent leader and come and castigate the other person. I have no qualms with anybody. If you seek to project your candidate, but if you want to put Napo and Professor Napo as running mates to President Mahama and then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia respectively, and want to say that in terms of competence, in terms of delivery in government, who has what it takes to complement the presidential candidate to deliver what Ghanaians want, then I'm sorry that you're comparing apples with I don't know, it's just day and light. So, but you know, we were talking about the impact. Today, the Vice President honored the invitation to grace the occasion of the Faculty of Aging Studies at the University of Ghana, with the professors at the school, where they are setting up an institute to train or to help aged people and all of that. And the Vice President and the professors who spoke make some striking comments. Somebody said, under the policies that the Vice President introduced, sometimes if you're not careful, you may shift focus. But he said that today, because of something like mobile renewal or electronic renewal of NHIS membership, if you're an aged person and you don't have the strength to walk to the district offices of the National Health Insurance Scheme, you are able to register, you know, your membership on your phone. This is an impactful policy. You may gloss over that, but at that level of age, you don't even have the strength to move around. At that level of age, you don't have the strength to walk to the bank, to take money from your bank accounts. You're able to sit at home in your weakness and frailty as an aged person because of mobile money interoperability to port money from your bank accounts onto your mobile phone and transfer to your grandchild at school or whatever, buy anything that you want without having to stress up to go to town to do that. Right. These are far-reaching, impactful policies that are drawn out of the innovative ideas coming from the head and the mindset of President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that are impacting lives in this country. You cannot just sit down and rubbish some of these things. If you want me to go on, we can talk about a lot of stuff.
I just wanted to spend some few minutes to talk about the current state of the Ghanaian economy. The fact that a lot of people are complaining about high cost of living. And they therefore question the economic competence of the Vice President, who we all know is an economist, described as a messiah. And people say it doesn't correspond in terms of what we are experiencing now and what we were made to believe that it was going to transform the entire Ghanaian economy. Perhaps you can spend some few minutes to talk about that before I cross over to Alisa Hotel.
So we're talking about cost of living, okay? What does government do? Government is in place to make sure they instigate and put in policies that will lessen the burden of the people and, where possible, eradicate them, okay? As you move along, that is why the white man talks about inflation, whichever way you want to look at it. It means that over time, things may not remain constant and they will keep changing as and when. If you're lucky, they step back. If you're not lucky, they move forward. But a lot of the time, you see that forward progression in prices of goods and commodities on the market. That is why we talk about inflation. What is important if you are in the political space and want to weigh two political options, as we are trying to do here, which I have always restrained myself from doing because cost of living is cost of living. You understand? When somebody goes to the market and things are exorbitant, the person cannot afford, it's not about NPP, it's not about NDC. So people feel it. And the issue about cost of living is not peculiar to any other government, but at this particular point, we're trying to compare two political regimes to see that who was in the position or who has been in the position to lessen the burden of the people. How do you lessen the burden of the people? You lessen the burden of people by introducing policies that take away some of the burdens from them.
What are some of these policies?
And where possible, you also make sure that the areas that you cannot take away the burden, you don't increase them astronomically. And one of such policies that this government has instituted that has taken the burden out of the people is the free SHS that you asked him about, that they could not implement, but President Akufo-Addo has been able to implement. That burden is off the shoulders of parents. And so, yes, we may have a cost of living component today that I am not satisfied about, that you're not satisfied about, depending on our individual pockets. But President Akufo-Addo has been able to put in place some of these safety nets to cushion people, because if in the midst of the challenges that you have today or I have today, I still had to pay the senior high school fees of my ward, my nephew, and your child, it would have been a different ballgame altogether. What did the NDC do specifically in the education sector to cushion the burden and the sufferings of the Ghanaian people? That is one thing that they have to answer. That is why Dr. Bawumia challenges them to mention one single social intervention policy that the NDC government in 8 years implemented, that Ghanaians can say that yes, cost of living was high under President Kwame Nkrumah, depending on the situations and the circumstances at the time. It was high under President Kufuor, it was high under President Mills, it is high under President Mahama, it is high under President Akufo-Addo. It will be high under President Bawumia or under President Mahama, whoever comes tomorrow. But the most important thing the Ghanaian people are looking up to, that in the midst of the higher cost of living that we are experiencing, or we will experience, what did you do? What will you do to ameliorate that suffering of the people? That is the most important thing. It is not right on my part and honest to sit here and claim that cost of living was not high under Mahama or it's not high under President Akufo-Addo. All of them, across board, nobody can run away from that. But what are you doing to deal with the problem and to make sure you lessen the burdens of the Ghanaian people? In the midst of doing so, when Ghanaians didn't have electricity, what did President Mahama's government do? A sensitive government will rationally think that he will not increase electricity tariffs. But we saw the highest increases in electricity tariffs under President Mahama, even when we didn't have electricity. We saw the highest increases in fuel prices under President Mahama in terms of rate of change. Even when we didn't have fuel, we were queuing to have fuel. Under President Akufo-Addo, you wouldn't say electricity prices have not gone up. In fact, although cumulatively, President Akufo-Addo's government is the only government since 1992 that has ensured cumulative reduction in electricity prices in this country. Yet it is still high. But what did the president do in the midst of critical situations in Ghana like COVID-19 and that bedeviled us? He reduced electricity prices for people. He gave water for free. He made sure that he did something to cushion the people.
And we are paying for it.
Yes, when Mahama was there and there was no global crisis, and there was no electricity and were in doom so, they were still increasing electricity prices to the extent that in the particular...
Just 1 second so that I can let our viewers know, and those who are watching us on social media know what is happening now. So the Energy Minister, Dr. Opoku Prempeh, Member of Parliament for Manshiya South, is currently at the Alisa Hotel, and this is just live pictures from the Alisa Hotel. Right, so he's already in the campaign mood in the typical NPP colors, red, white, and blue, and he obviously is just minutes away from being confirmed as a running mate to the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, completing the ticket for election 2024. It will be your decision as a voter to decide between Dr. Bawumia and Dr. Opoku Prempeh, and then, of course, John Dramani Mahama and Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman, and, of course, the other political parties, Alan Chemartin and the rest. That is a responsibility that is in your hands, and you have to decide who you're going to entrust the destiny of this country to for the next 4 years. What decision are you going to make? And have you been convinced by the arguments that is coming from Dr. Gideon Buako and, of course, Mustafa Bandi? When we come back, we'll analyze all these and more. We'll take a short break. When we return, I will take you live to the Alisa Hotel. You don't want to miss anything regarding this announcement that is coming up pretty shortly. This is the pulse on joining. When we come back, our next destination will be the Alisa Hotel. And, of course, Apejafie at Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Welcome back. This is the pulse here on Joy News. Our main agenda this afternoon is to bring you the live announcement from Alisa Hotel regarding who partners Dr. Bawumia to complete the NPP's December 7th, 2024 election ticket. The General Secretary, Justin Kodia Frimpong, will be addressing the media very soon, and we'll take you live when that is ready. But until that is done, so what you just saw on your screen, the stage is almost set for that news conference to start. I see the General Secretary, of course, the National Chairman of the party, and other leading members of the party. Perhaps this announcement is what we've all been waiting for. And so we'll be taking you live to the Alisa Hotel very shortly when the General Secretary is ready to speak to the nation. But Mustafa Bandi is still on via Zoom for us. Mustafa, I'll allow you some comments on what we've been discussing. When the news conference is ready, I'll take. Okay, so let me take you live to Alisa Hotel now. The General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong, is addressing the media.
The National Council of the New Patriotic Party, which is the second highest decision-making body of the party, met today, July 4, 2024, to consider nomination of Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh by His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Bawumia, the party's presidential candidate, as his running mate for the 2024 general election. The meeting, which ended a few minutes ago, did in fact consider the said nomination, which forms part of the constitutionally mandated processes for selecting the party's running mate as per Article 13(3) of the New Patriotic Party Constitution. For the avoidance of doubt, Article 13(3)(1) reads as follows: the party's presidential candidate shall, in consultation with the National Council, nominate the vice presidential candidate. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'm happy to report that after the necessary consideration, the National Council of the party unanimously endorsed the presidential candidate's nomination of Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, Member of Parliament for Menchia South and Energy Minister, as the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, pursuant to our Constitution, Article 13(3). This significant milestone marks the completion of the party's presidential ticket for the 2024 general election, and therefore sets the stage for the party to fully engage the Ghanaian electorate comprehensively with our message of transformation. I wish to, at this juncture, say something little about our vice presidential candidate, focusing primarily on what he brings to the New Patriotic presidential ticket, since he is not a stranger to the body politics of our country. Honorable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is a 56-year-old medical doctor, a devoted Christian, and a consummate politician. A product of Prempeh College and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, both in Kumasi, as well as the Erasmus University in the Netherlands. Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, as I indicated, is a medical doctor by training. It was at KN University that he made his first appearance as a leader, after he won the position as the local National Union of Ghanaian Students NUG's president, a position he held from 1991 to 1992. After working with the National Health Service in the United Kingdom for some time, he returned to Ghana in 2005 to pursue a career in business and, more importantly, in politics. He successfully became the Member of Parliament for Menchia in 2009. Ahead of the 2012 elections, the constituency, as you all know, was divided into two, Menchia North and Menchia South. He again won to become the Member of Parliament in Menchia South in 2012 elections, and he retained that seat in 2016. Owing to his passion for education, His Excellency, our President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, appointed him as Minister of Education during his first term. As Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, Napo, as we popularly call him, spearheaded the implementation of the famous free senior high school policy. Under Dr. Prempeh, the successful implementation of the government's flagship free senior high school policy saw the country's SHL population lift from 800,000 in 2016 to 1.2 million by January 2021. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is instructive to note that Napo ensured that this policy was rolled out within the first year of the Akufo-Addo government when he was appointed as Education Minister. He didn't ask for honeymoon. I repeat, he didn't ask for honeymoon. It will be recalled that at that time, he announced that he was going to implement the free senior high school policy. Many people, including some from the civil society organization and even some members of our government, thought it was too early for us to implement the free senior high school. But typically of Napo, he will have none of that. He showed boldness and decisiveness when it matters most and went on with the policy, which is by far the biggest social intervention in the nation's education sector since independence. Today, posterity has vindicated him. Ghana certainly needs leaders who are bold and decisive, because it is the only way we can achieve results. It is also worthy to note that throughout his 4-year tenure as Minister for Education, there was significant industrial harmony and stability in the educational front. He ensured that the concerns of teachers and other players in the education sector were adequately attended to. This therefore confirms that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh has an incredible interpersonal and negotiation skills. He's arguably the only Minister of Education in this Fourth Republic to have achieved this feat. Having delivered at the Ministry for Education, the President appointed him during his second term to head the Ministry of Energy, where again, he demonstrated his stellar leadership qualities. He worked very hard to keep our lights on. Even during times of unprecedented global economic crisis, when every sector of our economy was virtually in darkness, grasping for breath. We, however, concede that in the last couple of weeks and months, some parts of the country did face some power challenges. But the good news is that, unlike in the past, particularly under His Excellency Dramani Mahama, where he slept in darkness for over 4 years, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh ensured that the recent power challenges we experienced did not last beyond 3 months. It's indeed result-oriented, and there is absolutely no debate about that. In recognition of his leadership skills, his contribution towards education in Ghana, particularly in respect of his role that he has played in the government flagship program, the Free Senior High School, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, we are not surprised that he has been honored by the University of Education Uniba, the University of Cape Coast, the University of Professional Studies Accra, the conferment on him with honorary doctorate degrees. In July 2021, he was invited to join the Mission 4-7 High-Level Advisory Group, a joint initiative by UNESCO, the Sustainable Development Solution Network for Global Citizens, and the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to ask me what Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh brings to the NPP presidential ticket, I would say it brings to us a bold, confident, hard-working, result-driven, decisive, grassroots mobilizer, charismatic, patriotic, and demonstrable, incorruptible person. That simplifies who Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is. In fact, he's a leader with a clear track record of achievement, and he shares Dr. Muhammad Bawumia's vision of bold solutions for our country that are responsive to the needs, opportunities, and challenges of the 21st century. In this respect, he complements our flag bearer in many significant ways, and the two enjoy a warm, personal relationship anchored in deep mutual respect. More importantly, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh has a great working relationship with our presidential candidate, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Muhammad Bawumia. The synergy between these two great leaders on our presidential ticket, coupled with their proven track record and transformational campaign message, will help the new Patriotic Party to secure a resounding third conservative electoral victory on December 7, 2024. Inshallah, by the grace of God, it is possible and we will achieve it. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Right, so this is your election headquarters. It is now official. Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, also known as Napo, Member of Parliament for Menchia South in the Ashanti region, is the NPP's 2024 presidential election running mate. That completes the ticket. So it is Dr. Muhammad Bawumia as the flag bearer and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as the running mate. So that announcement came through after the council meeting. At that meeting, the choice of the presidential candidate was fully endorsed by council and communicated by the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong. Gideon, your reaction?
It has been possible. I mean, that is good news for us. I have known this for quite some time, but of course I needed to show some reticence to allow today to come true. And I think I'm very, very excited. And I can see outside the party people are excited.
And of course, I'll be taking our viewers live to the Apejefie, that is the traditional home of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. My colleague Nana Boachi is there and will bring us reaction from the Apejefie as they receive the news of their son, now elevated to the position of running mate, seeking to lead this country in 2025. Gideon, just 1 second for me. Let me bring in Mustafa Gbandi. He's the Deputy General Secretary. We've lost him, but we'll take you back again to Alisa Hotel. But let me take our viewers now to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, not far from the Menchia Palace. Nana Boachi is live there. Nana Boachi, you're welcome back. So the announcement we've all been waiting for is finally out. Napo is the running mate. What has been the reaction at the Apejefie?
Of South, they are here jubilating in the office of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Right after the announcement broke out there, they have been celebrating the executives alongside the constituents who trooped into the office of the Energy Minister, and then the current running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. The excitement you see here, they can't hide their joy. So let's get to hear from them. All right, and so executives, constituents of the Menchia South constituency expressing their joy. You are live on Joy News. I mean, after the announcement, how do you feel?
Well, I would say today is a great day, and a great day is today. We are very happy, as you can see. The whole country was waiting for this very day, and thankfully, the name that we wanted to help us break the aid has been selected by the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. So as you can see, the whole country is happy, Ashanti is happy, and as a youth organizer for a neighboring constituency that's Menchia North, we are very happy, and it's going to help us making the breaking the age very simple. That is why we are all happy. The market women are happy, the young ones are happy, because Dr. brings extraordinary performance on board. So no wonder Dr. Bawumia selected him, and you can see he's happy. Napo Beba. Napo Beba.
And the excitement is from the Menchia South constituency office. This is the office of the running mate for the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. The executives are jubilating with the constituents of Menchia South constituency right after the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia, confirmed that NEC has accepted Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as the running mate for Dr. Bawumia going into the December presidential election. The excitement you see here is from the executives and the constituents singing party anthem as they are jubilating. And we will go down there because a number of constituents are packing down there to join the constituents up here for the massive jubilation. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but we'll go down there and then later we'll give you updates on how things look like in the constituency itself. So Elton, have a few of their jubilation.
So those are live videos from the Menchia South office of the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Officially, is now the running mate to Dr. Bawumia. This is your election headquarters. And of course, the Alisa Hotel is where the action took place. My colleague Samuel Mbura is there. We'll touch base briefly with him before we wrap up this. So Gideon, so how does this help you galvanize support at the base for a possible victory in 2024 December?
Yeah, so there are two bases, if you want to talk about that. I mean, the base of the party and the generality of Ghanaians. And I think that for those of us in the party, every single party person must be happy about this election. Because if you're looking at the man of the people in NPP today, okay, you can't rule out Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. He cuts across the young and the elderly. He's a galvanizer. That's how I put it. And You see Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Napo, they're all energetic, they look young, and this election is about the youths. So you need people who will also appeal to the Gen Zs, you understand, and get people connected. Napo's personality and his image, the charisma that he carries, and how simple he is. He's a very simple person. He knows how to crowd the jokes, get people along. He knows how to, speak to the minds of people. And so you need that base energizer. So he's a base energizer, and also coming from Ashanti region, which is the bastion of the party. Okay, that's where our votes are concentrated. What we suffered in 2008 is voter apathy.
Right.
So that in the first round, if we had 22,000 more people voting, we were going to get power, but we couldn't get it. Second round, 200,000 more people who didn't vote in the first round voted in the second round in Ashanti region. So what it tells you is that when you are into second term, creeping over to third term, you need some extraordinary strength and candidate complementarity to energize the base of your party. And if you look at the statistics across board, the New Patriotic Party, even when we lose elections, we have never come below 47% in this country from 2000. Anytime the NPP lost elections from 2000, the lowest the NPP has come to is 47%. The NDC has come down to 43%, and they have over around 43, 44%. So in terms of the party that commands majority support in this country, it is the NPP. All that you need is to strongly anchor your base and make sure that every single member of the party takes a decision to go to the polls to vote. Then you then rest on your strength to also draw in the floating voters and even other people from the other political parties to join you. So we need somebody who energizes the base. And our candidate cuts across. But you can say that going to 2024, one of the strengths that we have is the candidacy of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to revolutionize the North, which hitherto had been the stronghold of the NDC. So you can see that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to do something to turn over the North. We're talking of today, the northern region, which used to be an absolute majority basket for the NDC, has 9-9 head-to-head with the NPP because of the Bawumia effect. That was even when Bawumia was a running mate. He was able to overshadow John Dramani Mahama in the North, such that we commanded Northeast and we were trailing one seat behind John Mahama in his own region. In the proper northern region, NPP is neck to neck in terms of the parliamentary seat. We have come from 4 to 18 in terms of the three northern regions in the past. So you can see that Dr. Bawumia's effect in the North is strong, and any one increase in votes for NPP in the North brings the NDC down. If you have a candidate who is doing that in the North, you need another candidate to also make sure in your stronghold nobody stays at home. That is exactly what Napo is going to do.
Just 1 second. Let me wrap up with Samuel Mbura, who is at Alisa Hotel. So, Samuel, is all well and done. It's official. It's out. Is there a reaction from Dr. Opoku Prempeh?
Yes, like you said, all is done and dusted. Dr. Opoku Prempeh was unanimously approved, according to the General Secretary, Justice Frimpong, who addressed the media briefly. For now, Dr. Opoku Prempeh wouldn't address the media, but we could see that he was actually mobbed by the people around here, and you could see the excitement all over him and the people who came to support him. So he wouldn't speak. We understand on Tuesday, when he'll be officially outdoors, then he will give his first statement after his approval as running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But I spoke to the chairman of the NPP, Mr. Stephen Tim. He is optimistic that with the selection of Dr. Opoku Prempeh, it is a done deal for the NPP to break the 8. The sentiments of Mr. Obi Amwa, who is the deputy campaign manager for the parliamentary part of the NPP, also said that, they know that Dr. Opoku Prempeh is qualified, but it is not based on tribal lines that he was selected. So I must say, everything has ended here with jubilation, and the party supporters being optimistic of garnering enough votes to secure or break the 8 coming in the 2024 elections.
Samuel Imbura, and maybe the analysis will start very soon. Thank you so much for that good work you've done the whole of today. So, Gideon, we are wrapping up. Just few comments on the fact that Info Analytics this week published their latest opinion polls ahead of the election, in which it became clear that Dr. Bawumia is closing up on John Mahama, but the gap is still 13%. Do you think from now to December it is possible for you to turn things around?
I mean,
and then we can talk about we can talk about turn and off briefly.
To sound sweet in the ears of any NPP person, because there's a research output that indicates our candidate, you know, is inching up and closer to victory. But to be honest with you, I'm a scholar, I'm an academic. I know what when competent researches are done. I've read every single report from Info Analytics, and to be, with all due respect, I don't believe in their polls, and I don't trust them. I don't add so much value to what they put out.
What is your own poll telling you?
Technically, critically, their polls are shams. You understand? I mean, so I don't want.
And your own poll, what is it telling you?
I mean, the MPP, when we have our own polls, we may decide to use as internal purposes or communicate outside. So to the extent that we've not come out with any public indication of polls, I wouldn't want to comment. But we have ears on the ground. We conduct our individual polls, and there are polls that are done by reputable institutions. When they submit to us, we go through them and look at them. What I want to say is that polls are indication of what some people think, not everybody. It may reflect, you know, what the generality of the people think, but for us as a party, whichever way the polls go, whether to advantage or not to advantage, that will not determine what happens on the election day. What is most important is that for us, we are in government. What can we do to inspire hope and let the Ghanaian people repose their confidence and trust in us? That is the most important thing. We have a responsibility to deliver to the appreciation of the Ghanaian people. We have a responsibility to show empathy with the Ghanaian people, even when things are tough and difficult, accepting that given the right resources and the opportunity, we'll be able to scale over that. We should not be seen as grossing over the plight of the Ghanaian people, but we must be seen to be sympathizing with people even when they are in challenges, and indicating and suggesting to people what we can do to bring down the problems that they are going through. And whatever we say and whatever we indicate to them that we're going to do in the future will be judged based on what we have done before.
Okay.
So for me, that is a critical moment for us as a party in government, that we are able to deliver. And when it comes to the political arena, that we can juxtapose what we have done as against what our own main political opponents are also talking about and what they have done in the past, to show to Ghanaian people that yes, we've not been able to elevate every single Ghanaian to the heavens. We've not been able to make milk and honey flow into the mouths of people, but this is what we have been able to deliver. And the acid test to any political decision is what is the ultimate.
I've got just 1 minute to wrap up.
Judge, this is what we have done. This is what the NDC did. This is John Mahama. This is Bawumia. Both of them have been vice president before. Judge, based on your own assessment, which of them can you trust to be incorruptible? Which of them can you trust to have the innovative ideas to deliver Ghana to the next step? Which of them can you trust with the humility and honesty to say that, look, this man is the generational leader that we need? That is what we present.
I've just 1 minute, 30 seconds before you go. Turn on off a constituency I'm very familiar with, all the way from Tanoso to Yamfo to to Tertiary to Duayankonta.
You have to come to my hometown.
Of course, I'm very familiar with these areas. So how is the campaign going?
Tanadaf is going well. I'm trying my best, and people are even beginning to ask, you're not an MP yet, why are you doing all of this? That is my passion. I know that I'm going in to do what I can to help the people, and I have the support of the people. What I pray for is the strength of God and the wisdom and the kind of harmony that I have with the people to continue as it is today, to do what we can for the people. We have issues with our roads. I wouldn't sit here and lie to you. We have one of the poorest roads in the country, and I am happy today that I received communication from the Minister for Roads and Highways and the contractor who has been assigned to do the Tepa Boma Yamfo road and the Bomadu and Kwanta road, that They are looking for residences, rooms to accommodate their workers. And
All right.
Saturday, the contractor is moving to site to begin work on the Bawumia roads. That's not the only thing. There are other roads, the Brady Road and all of that. I just pray that something will happen and the people of Tanonof will wake up to see that the Brady Road is done, the Tapaboma Yamfu Road and the Bomadu and Kwanta roads and the Yamfu Town roads and other roads are done. That is the joy and the satisfaction that I will have as a young person stepping into this arena of politics to help elevate people from their present situations to a comfortable area. And we will try to do that.
I thank you so much.
God be our
help. Of course. I thank you so much for coming through. And that's our show. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. The breaking news this hour is that Dr. Opoku Prempeh nomination as running mate has been confirmed. He's not a running mate for the NPP in the December 2024 general elections. My name is Elton Bobby. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. Tomorrow, same time, we'll bring you the Friday's edition of The Pulse. Until then, have a good evening and take care.